Hello, YouTube and X, Twitter, whatever you're called. This is Max Convexity coming to you in full 1080p, brilliant high definition. All right, guys, I just had a really good interview that I'd encourage you to watch. I broadcasted on Twitter and on YouTube. It was with Matthew Tuttle from the fund manager from BITK and T-SPY and some of your other favorite funds. Anyway, it was a great interview, and he gave us some interesting information. I would encourage everyone to go watch it. I really enjoyed speaking with him. I hope to have him on again soon. I have a lot more questions I want to ask him. All right, so how's everyone doing? Let's see what the market's doing. I wasn't really paying much attention. Gosh darn it! Every time I see the gold chart, it makes me mad. I mean, what's gold doing down 6.4%? I mean, is it just me, or is this pattern look like is it a topping pattern? I mean, but following my own rules, or aren't my rules I've been taught. I mean, if it does get here, even close to here, there should be buyers here because of this open gap. Of course, there should have also been buyers in this gap, and they went right through that one, and they went right through that one and that one. So anyway, and I guess my real problem is I own gold synthetic, or not synthetically, but through GDX, not even through GDX, through GDXY. So it's like a derivative of a derivative of a derivative of a derivative. And I am getting murdered. I'm going to get carried out in a stretcher. So this is with dividends included, though. And I bought this back in March. Let's see where we were in March. Even if I got the high, which I probably did, let's see. Even if I got the highest price in March, right, it would have been, it's gone from 12 to nearly 16. So that's $4 on 12. It's up about 33%, something like that. A little bit, about 30%. So I've done all right, but man, I should have got rid of it last week. I've been meaning to divest a little bit anyway. All right, well, I'll stop obsessing about my problems. What's VIX doing up today? That's generally not encouraging. VIX is going back up a little bit. VIX is still down. Anyway, it's not very much. We'll keep an eye on that. But let's go to the SPY. We'll look at the SPY, the Qs, and IB. Now, the SPY chart looks really good. The SPY left behind a bullish gap. And there's several bullish gaps. There's 3 of them underneath this, which are helping bolster it. Or there's actually 4 or 5 bullish gaps underneath the SPY. 6. I mean, there's lots of, that's the way bull runs are made, is with gaps. Well, that's impressive. All right, so the SPY did well. It's just basically balancing up here at this spot. It's just a matter, is it going to set a new high or not? Same thing with Qs. It's just kind of reached back in a, I don't want to say a trading range, but at least for today, it's kind of hit this high volume node at 611. There's a really high volume node at 600. And it's already come back and tested that one, as well as the one at 597 and as well as the one at 590. It's tested all of those recently. So let's go back. Let's try to set it, and we need to build some more volume out up here at 620. Maybe we'll get a higher trading range. We'll see. We might also fail and go the other way. Let's use Bitcoin for our tiebreaker. What's Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin's kind of been the leading asset lately, it seems like. And Bitcoin is comparatively weaker than the SPY. So, in other words, Bitcoin's not anywhere close to making an all-time high. So, if SPY does make an all-time high and the Qs do it, they'll do it without the help of Bitcoin. So, I don't know. I would like it better if Bitcoin was also confirming. So anyway, all right, we'll keep an eye on that. Okay, this morning I forgot to show the lightning spread. My lightning spread content. So this is QLDY. And let's look at, I'm not tracking the dividends anymore. I was tracking the dividends. They seem to be pretty consistent. It looks like they could pay 19 cents pretty much forever. twice a week. Those pretty good. But but now I'm just tracking the daily change. And so, and since inception, well, I'm tracking it both ways. Here's the daily change. Blue is how much the high yield fund is up, QLDY. Red is how much the Qs are up, which are their underlying. You can see the first day was about tied. The second day, QLDY won. The third day, QLDI won. Even though it dropped less than the Qs. Fourth day it won, but then on the fifth day it dropped a little bit more. But then on the sixth day, QLDY won. On the seventh day it won. On the eighth day it won. On the ninth day it won. On the 10th day it won. On the 11th day it added a little bit of downside, so it lost. Then it lost here, tied here, lost here, lost here, lost here, lost here, lost here, lost. So we've been losing lately until yesterday. Well, no, we lost yesterday too. Gosh, I didn't really realize that. The idea of this fund is it should catch approximately as much upside as the parent asset, but on the downside, we shouldn't be surprised if it catches a little bit extra. So really, especially a big down move, like we really haven't had a big. Well, yeah, we had a big down move there, and it actually didn't happen. It didn't catch a little bit of extra, but anyway, there's negative buffer on the downside, but you get a little extra upside. Typically, that's the way these are structured. Well, lately, for whatever reason, it just hasn't been outside of this day, which was like 3 days ago, where we outperformed the parent. It's been kind of underperforming. So, but then I made a cumulative sheet that just measures if you would have invested a lump sum in it day one and a lump sum in the Qs day one, including dividends. And they both paid dividends since then. Of course, QLDY pays 2 dividends a week, but the Qs have even paid a dividend since then. Let's go to historical. The Qs paid a dividend or they went ex-dividend on the 22nd of September. Now that dividend isn't payable till sometime the end of October, I think right around now, but they've already declared a 69-cent dividend. So when they declared it, it came out of the NAV. So I factored that into the equation, just like I factor every time that they pay a 19-cent dividend into the equation. Well, you can track the cumulative total return. And as you see, the first day it was tied, but then by we were outperforming consistently, second, third, fourth, fifth day. Then on this day, we were behind as far as cumulative return goes, but then we got back ahead by this day, but then since that day, we've been trailing. And so I'm a little disappointed in that. If anyone from YieldMax wants to come on and explain why this is happening, I mean, I have several theories, but I'd like to get somebody on and try to get in the middle of this, because the whole idea is the upside should be unencumbered. So I'm fine with it going down a little bit extra on down days. And I'm even fine with it underperforming a little bit overall, because when it goes down extra on down days, depending on your mix of down days and up days. But what I really don't like to see is days we have big up days and it's leaving and it's not, like the other day, Qs were up 2 and this was only up 1.6. That's how a normal covered call fund works. If I wanted to do that, I could just go buy any number of funds. That's how they all work. That's why I like the idea of the lightning spread, but I'm just not sure about the execution of it. So anyway, maybe Mike Coe will come on the show and we can maybe talk about it, or maybe we get Scott Snyder on the show or the trader, but I just don't understand what's going on with it. But anyway, all right, so let's look now. That was kind of a catch up from this morning. I'm supposed to show that every day. Let's look now at the terrible, what do I call it now? The terrible trio. And I'm joking. These aren't terrible. But, I just always have to think of fun names for my spreadsheets. I've had so many spreadsheets. I always talk about declaring spreadsheet bankruptcy. I'll make a spreadsheet that'll get so big or become corrupt somehow, and then I'll just start over. And this is like the 5th time I started over, so I have to keep coming up with new names. Anyway, the idea of this spreadsheet is it tracks the positions in blocks, LFGY, and Alti, which I think are the 3 premier funds right now, or 3 of the premier funds. There's other ones that are just as good as those 3, but we're kind of the 3 that I like. I mean, I really like GPTY. I like other funds also, but they wouldn't be as interesting to track. These are the most interesting ones to track as far as, because they're moving good stocks in and out. Like, for instance, I'll give you an example. Whenever blocks moved Cypher in, it was a good chance to buy Cypher. It tells you, hey, these pros like it. there's probably something going on with it. And sure enough, Cypher's done great. So I think the stocks that comprise these three funds are the most interesting stocks. GPTY trades Apple and Nvidia. I mean, which is good, but it's not as revolutionary. So these are blocks, and this table over here is the weightings, and then over here we have the change on the day of each asset. Like for instance, line 2, we have FBTC. It's a 14.6% of the fund, and it's up, nearly 1%. ETHA is 9% of the fund, and it's up nearly 0.5%. Great job. It's sometimes a little easier to look at it in graphical form. The blue line is the weighting. So there's that total. It's at 14% of the fund. FBTC 14%, 9% for ETHA. But the red line is how much it's up or down. So kind of at a glance, you could see what's really happening. Like Galaxy saved our ass today, basically. I mean, there are people that have this. I mean, not everyone has saved. And then MicroStrategy's also, had a decent day. Everything else in this universe was getting beat up. We could see it with one look. But now over on the far right is just how far blocks itself changed. Blocks itself is down 1.5 or 1.4. That's not too bad. The average stock right there, just the average of these stocks, not according to the weighting, just even weighted, the average of these stocks is down 2. So that's good. Blocks is, didn't catch all the downside of its underlines, which is good. So let's look at LFGY. LFGY is a good one. Also, I used to have a lot of. Actually don't know why I track it because I sold all my LFGY, but I'm still interested in it. They what they do is still interesting to me. And I sold LFGY to buy some other stuff that I think is even better. But I still like to look at this is an interesting fund for sure. And they have a lot of the same types of stocks as that other fund is Blocks. We just looked at Blocks. Blocks had at various times, Blocks has had Bitmine Immersion in it. Blocks had Galaxy in it. So they have some common stocks and some not so common stocks. Anyway, let's look at the chart. Let's go to the far right. You can barely see it. If I hover over it, it looks like LFGY itself was up 8 basis points. The average stock was down $1.25%. That's good. That's good. That's the option strategies working and the income coming in. That's the reason it's not down as much as the rest of the portfolio. But once again, they got beat up. There's nothing really up in their portfolio other than Galaxy and this one, CORZ, probably Micro. These guys have MicroStrategy. They have it sometimes, and sometimes they don't. Anyway, all right, but they're getting beat up by a lot of the same things. BitDeer's getting killed. What is Pegasystems? It's going straight up. And he's going to be on, the founder's going to be on CNBC. Pegasystems? PEGA Systems? I hadn't heard of that one yet. Bitcoin at 110,000. That's good to see. All right. I was getting worried about it when it was at 104, 105. I'm still not thrilled with it. It needs to be at 120, 130, 140, right? I've been hearing people say it's going to be, somebody told me it's going to be 250,000 by Thanksgiving, or not Thanksgiving, by Halloween. So it better get moving. Or maybe that was by the end of the year. Whatever. No, it was by Halloween. It was by Halloween. Anyway, all right. So that's ULT, or that's not ULTY, that's LFGY. So let's go to ULTY, which is probably, one that I'm also really interested in and comprises like 25% of my personal high yield portfolio. Let's see how it's protecting my capital today. Not very well. It's down 1%. Now it's not down as much as its average unweighted fund is down 3%. So they made 2% of alpha versus their underlines. And that's just because of the premium they sold. But that's good to see. But everything's down in this universe too. The only thing they have that's up is Upstart and Affirm. They all three have slightly different stocks, but they're similar type things. And I like to look at those three every day. So let's also go to the index buffer report. Just kind of generally look at everything. Oh, we're on Twitter now. I just I wonder if I'm getting comments on Twitter yet. I'm still not really sure how to use it, how to use Twitter. Hey, Retired. Thanks for being here. Thank you, all you guys, for being here. Thank also being. We got 2 Marks in the house. We need some more mics in the house. We have 2 Marks, and I guarantee we have 2 or 3 mics in the house too. I bet. Or maybe not, but at most live streams we have 2 or 3 mics in the house, and we have 3 Marks in the house. I don't know if Marcus is here, but if Marcus is here and we can call him Mark, which is kind of a stretch, we have 3 Marks in the house. Anyway, thanks for being here, guys. All right, so let's do this. Let's look at this index buffer report. Now, this has red lines and blue lines also. The blue line are the high yield stocks, and the red line is the underline. On the left side, this is SPY-based high yield index funds. And then we have, because that's why it's called the index buffer report. These are mainly index funds, the ones I kind of like, the ones that are based on multiple stocks, mostly. These are all basically indexy type situations. Even if they aren't an index, it's something like USOY, which is based, that one's not an index. Okay. But the other ones are, a lot of the other ones are. USOY is US oil, which is based on an entire industry. So it may not be an index itself. Anyway, let's start over here with the SPY-based stuff. So SPY, there's no red line on SPY, and that's because SPY was just basically unchanged. I mean, there is a red line. You can't see it. I have to hover slow enough over it. So basically unchanged. All right. Well, SPY-T was down 16 basis points, but YSPY was up 23 basis points. That's good to see. SDTY up 1/4 point. 5E doing well, and then FEET doing, oh no, not FEET. So this is a day that breaks my rule. Usually FEET and 5E are up the most or down the most. That's not the case today. This fund, FIRS, is a good fund, but I think they're closing it down. It just never did get the commercial appeal. It's a fund of funds and it has some good stuff in it. And I think I talked to some people that liked it, but in any event, I need to take it off here. I think it's closing up shop October 24th or something, which is in a few days. Yeah. Anyway, I'll get it off of there and we'll put something on in its place. Probably something like BITK from one of Matthew Tuttle's new funds could go on here. I had BITK on here, but I took it off because it's a technical problem. We'll put it back on though. We will get it back on. So anyway, moving over to the NASDAQ land, which is where the red line moves a little bit further. So the NASDAQ was down 6 basis points, and you can see a lot of the stuff. These aren't directly based on the NASDAQ, but if you had to think of an underline for blocks or SEPI, it's going to be closer to the NASDAQ. Anyway, blocks and SEPI both pulled back today. They have a lot of DeFi exposure. WPay also has some DeFi and AI exposure and also pulled back today. And of course, Alti. Alti pulled back also. So now, but in the good news, the good based funds, look at this, QLDY, the fund I was ragging on, and it looks like beat the Qs for frickin' once. Maybe they're finally doing something good over there. They've been hearing us gripe about it, or they don't want to come on the station. Mike Coe just said, look, I don't want to come on this guy's station. Freaking fix this fund so I don't have to go on there and try to explain to this guy why it's not working. Anyway, whatever. If they could just do that every day, that would be wonderful. Market's down, they're up. So anyway, stick with keep watching the daily updates, because in the morning we'll add this day into all the other ones, and hopefully we'll get back where we're outperforming soon. But we follow that on a daily basis. Sometimes I even have a night lightning spread report, a nightly, but I haven't done it recently. Probably won't do it tonight. Anyway, YMAX is down, YMAG. All right. Well, USOY's beating its underline, which is USO. That's good. Kind of some random ones down here that we don't really talk too much about. TLTW, catching about half the upside of its parent. All right. Let's look at the yield max. These aren't all the yield max stocks. These are some of them. For instance, I noticed Carvani's not on here. I need to go through and put some new ones on here. Renti's not on here. Well, these are supposed to be the single names also. The index ones should go on the other page, but I need to put Carvani on here and likely some other ones. All right. So in Yield Max land, the only outperformer we had was Abney. We also had MSFO outperforming the parent. Murni outperforming the parent. Moderna is only up 92 bips and we'll call it 1%. And Murni's up nearly 2%, 1.75. Great job. Now, on the downside, we definitely don't want to see anyone beating the parent on the downside. Of course, Alti is a little bit, and YMAX is a little bit too. We already looked at those. Those really belong on the other one and not on this one. But all right, so that's that. You guys have any questions, be sure to ask them. We usually just kind of take questions and shoot the breeze. What are you guys doing? We're going to look at stocktools.app and some other stuff. How did you sell your Bitcoin at 123? How did you know to do that? Why didn't you tell me to sell my GDXY at the same time? Because, I mean, back when Bitcoin was trading at 123, gold was also up. Everything was up. That would have been the perfect day to take a little off the table and spread it around. Anyway, I just have my feelings hurt because I wanted to do something I didn't. Story of my life, and I should have done it. Hey, Mark, thanks for watching that interview. Yeah, I thought that was one of the better interviews, but it was because I was really interested in what he was saying. Not like I'm not interested in what all the fund managers are saying, but some stuff is more interesting to me than others, and mainly the option mechanics, and that's what he was into also. So, yeah, I thought that was a great interview. I was nervous about running out of questions to ask him. I got a ton of questions, and I had a whole iPad full of questions. And I used some of them that you guys suggested, but I just kept wanting to ask him about call spreads and stuff. But anyway, thank you so much for watching that. All right, so let's go to stocktools.app. Now, I have an affiliate code here, stocktools.app/Max. I really like this piece of software. Let me show you what it'll do really quick. Really quick here. All right. All right. So what I like to do is a friend of the station is developed this software and is constantly building cool stuff. There's a jillion things in here that are awesome. I usually start on the dashboard. Yeah, the SPY was down 4.4. I couldn't see it earlier on the little graph because it was too small. Qs were down 18. UVXY, and then the diamonds. The Dow had a great day. The Dow was up like 300 points at one point. Industrials were really rocking and rolling. Then it shows sectors. It shows a lot of stuff, and it has a heat map. And this is just such a great piece of software. So it was the consumer discretionary that was pulling the market up mainly. So what I really like to do on here, and you can't really find this anywhere else, is you go to dividends and hit income ETF analysis. All right. And then you can select different funds to compare. Like we could compare the Round Hill Weeklies to the Rex. Let's do that. Let's just do that, by God. Let's compare the Rex Growth and Income ETFs to the Round Hill Weekly pays. And whatever you could throw in big, you could do whatever. But anyway, let's just do that, and then let's look we can look at the results over a 1 day period, a 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, whatever you want. It's such a good piece of software. Such a good app. I don't know if you call it software anymore. It's a web app, right? Or it's an app. Such a good app. The guy that developed it, Rob, he's a what's it called? A developer. He develops apps, mobile app developer, and he's a genius. He's really smart. And this is pretty reasonable, and I get a little commission if you guys end up getting it. But if you want to try it, stocktools.app/Max. All right. So look at this. AMZW up 3.2. It's basically showing the same thing I was showing on the buffer report in a more elegant way. You see how it's doing and how it's doing against the parent. And he even shows it exactly like I show it in graphical form too, and even sorts them. So you could see which ones beat the parents by the most and which ones lag the most. But anyway, I like to look at just the numbers basically. So let's go back here to the deep dive. Okay, best performing funds of the day. AMZW, Amazon's bouncing. I'm glad to see Mr. bouncing. Mr. was up 1.79. MSTW up 2.3. Great job. And then we have MS2 from our friends over at Rex, killing it. Now they, didn't get as much upside as MSTW, but it's a little different strategy. Rex is kind of a hybrid between the yield max strategy and the round hill strategy. They throw elements of each in there. But in any event, there's old MSFW beating the parent. And this one might be down tomorrow because Netflix is down right now. Anyway, but let's go back. Let's just do this. Let's just select everything. Let's throw it all in here. Let's look back. See what the best fund of the day was. Probably AMZW, right? Probably. Well, maybe not. I'm trying to think. Anyway, okay, so now we have them all selected. And let's just take a look here. There's Carboni. I don't do Carboni, but Carboni's on this one. Oh, shoot. Carboni, speaking of Carboni, it's number one. Look at that. It's number one. It's beating the Roundhill stuff, which is wild. Roundhill doesn't have a Carvana-based fund yet, or the Roundhill one would be on top. Roundhill uses a little bit of leverage, a little bit different strategy. But anyway, great day. Carvana, based on Carvana. Carvani's up 3.8. Carvana was up 5.5. And then AMZW was second, and MST was third. Just so glad to see MicroStrategy's bouncing. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are too. All right, so now let's go back and let's look over the past month and see what the best fund of the past month has been. Yeah, there's that Pegasystems again. It's up 7.7%. They had earnings, so that's why it's up. But I've never heard of it. Pegasystems. It sounds like it could sound like video games. It also sounds like maybe a defense contractor. Pegasystems. Anyway, it looks like their founder's on right now. Maybe I should turn on the closed captioning so I could read it. Anyway, I'm sure you guys know what it's about, what Pegasystems does. All right, so here's for the past month. So here's the fund of the past month is AMDW. So it won on the day, and that was Amazon, AMZW. Anyway, AMDW. AMD's been on a tear, had that huge gap up. Excuse me. I'm trying to think, what was that after? It was after that big announcement that somebody, what was it, a merger or somebody? I forget what the deal was, but it was a big deal, whatever it was. Anyway, AMDY has also had a heck of a month. Now it's only up 43% instead of 51%. But I mean, the trade-off is in a big down, if the market drops 40, 50%, AMDY will be down less than AMDW. Just because of math, not because AMDW is a bad fund. It's just because of math. What's AMYY? Where did that come from? Oh, I didn't even know they released this one yet. AMYY, that must be a Granite shares. So they probably sell put spreads on leveraged AMD. Anyway, they've had a heck of a run. Of course, you can see the theme is it's more what the underline's based on. Look, because right here's one of them this strategy is leverage plus the Roundhill strategy is leverage plus swaps. The yield max strategy is no leverage, sell covered call spreads, and the Granite strategy is no leverage but sell leveraged options, leverage puts. So in essence, leverage. Anyway, three different strategies. They're number 1, 2, and 3. So not like the option strategy doesn't matter, but what matters more is the underlying. Pick an underline that's going to go up, and that's 90% of the problem. SMCY had a good month. Look at that. TSMY based on Taiwan Semi. Soxy's had a good month. Chippy. Now blocks, what I think about blocks. So look at this thing. It's blocks is underlined, which is the Qs, which is IBIT. Trying to think if that's a fair underline for blocks. I guess so. I mean, if there's a way to do a blended underline where you based it 40% on IBIT and 60% on the Qs, I think that would be a more accurate. Anyway, but we can do that since we can look at it here. So here's the Qs right here. Qs are up 2% on the month. Blocks was up 7.9. So it doesn't matter what you use, Qs or IBIT, blocks is dogging it, killing it. Good job, blocks. TSLP's had a heck of a, Tesla's had a heck of a run. LFGY is a good fund that I like, almost as much as blocks and Alti, but you can see LFGY has been up 7.64% in the past month, where the SPY was only up 1%. Think about that. That's incredible. Now, probably a better underline for LFGY is also the Qs. But anyway, whatever. It's ahead of the Qs at 2% also. It doesn't matter doesn't matter. LFGY, it doesn't matter. It's going to beat whatever you throw at it. I know a lot of people like this Bitcoin GD. This is a good one. Man, we have a lot of outperformance this month. Look, compared to the parent, this column right here where it says underline return, difference, the column where it says difference, and we have a lot of outperformance right here. Chippy outperforming blocks, TSLP, LFGY, AAPW, BTGD, NVYY, TS2, all outperforming, as is, of course, AMDW outperforming the parent. In outperforming the parent isn't the only thing to look at. AMDY's done well also. It's only up 43%. It's not up as much as the parent, but it pays a higher yield. So, and if the market goes down, AMDY will be in better shape than AMDW. Neither of them are going to be in great shape, but AMDY should be marginally better shape. All right, guys. Well, that's all I got for you today. But I'll be happy to take questions or shoot the breeze or do whatever. Let me find there it is. All right. 20 people here. These shows are getting bigger. Yeah, it was a couple of weeks ago. Anyway, it was. I remember hearing about it in real time. It was good. It was in hindsight, it's turned out to be a great move. So good move. I'm just hoping for another rally. Do you think I'll get another rally? And for some reason, I'm just thinking that the gold rally may be over. It's just looking like a topping pattern to me. I know I'm just being paranoid, but I thought about letting Matthew go about 5 minutes early and getting on Tasty Trade and blowing out of GDXY before it goes any lower. I was up 50%. Now I'm only up 30% in that position. I'm getting killed. My overall portfolio was up about 12 or 13% back when Mark sold his stuff at 123. Right around that time, I was up 12 or 13%. As of this morning, I was only up 6%. But a lot of that's because GDXY has just been, and not only GDXY, it's also other ones too. So anyway, it's whatever. It is whatever. We'll be back. The portfolio will be back again soon. I'm going to be rocking and rolling soon. All right. Well, if you guys got any other questions, put them in the comments. I'm trying to think of anything else I have to talk about. We're just getting some compliments on the interview, and which I expect, just because of Matthew, not me. He said a lot of stuff that a lot of people are really going to like. Did you guys hear what he said about? He's trying to come out with the fund. I'm always talking about the GOAT spread, but I don't really have enough expertise to do it. I'm looking at, I have an idea. I know enough to be dangerous, like I always tell you guys. I know a little bit, but, then I test something. I have to go back to the drawing board. Well, he's where I where I picture myself being. But anyway, he's come up with the concept. He was describing a concept today that is what I'm trying to make the goat spread into, and I'm so far unsuccessful. So anyway, he's coming out with some really inventive stuff. I asked him to come back on the show. Not only if I ask him on, he said he'd come back on anytime, but I told him he could call us also if he's coming out with a new fund, would like to come on the show, because I think he has a pretty good rapport with our channel, where I haven't even seen him on any other high yield channels. I can't believe that either a coach or Brad hasn't had him on yet. Brad, especially. Brad's right on the ball. Brad was in Chicago with them last week. I didn't get invited to Chicago, but Brad did. Brad went with the T-Spy folks to Chicago, and Matthew was there. Matthew was in the picture. I didn't talk to him about today, but I saw Matthew's face in the picture. He was there because he's the sub-advisor. But so I know they know each other, and I would bet he's going to be on Brad's show soon, and probably coaches. He's an interesting guy, and but I was really proud to get that interview before anyone else did. It's one of my bigger gets in a while. All right, guys. Well, I'll let you go unless there's any more questions, anything you want to talk about. All right, let's see what. Hey, Dan. Oh, it's all right. You haven't really missed anything. I was just getting ready to let people go. Jamerson, I don't know on case. I'm just terrible at those types of questions. And I'm also having my feelings hurt because I've been meaning to buy it for weeks. For like 2 weeks, I was going to sell something and buy it. And the thing I was going to sell is going straight down. And anyway, but you guys weigh in with your opinion. And do you guys think it's a good time to buy KSLV? I mean, we can look at a chart. Let's see what Mark's saying. He's saying, Max, I watch charts even on Bitcoin. I saw the beginning of the downturn, sold, immediately put in a limit order 105. That's great. Congratulations. That is wonderful. Let's look at it. Since you asked the question, Jameson, I appreciate you asking the question. Let's look at. But I'm planning on getting some K-SIL. Not really. I don't not really get it so much as timing, just to have some precious metals in the portfolio. And just something to replace GDXY with. GDXY has been great, but it just goes down too fast. I mean, they say these high yield funds have NAV erosion. They ought to see GDXY. I'm just joking. It's not NAV erosion when the stock's just going down. I'm trying to make a joke. But it's frustrating. It's nevertheless, it doesn't matter what you call it. Like I say, I do get it's frustrating. I mean, it's hard to tell, but it looks like that you have a chance to buy it almost at the IPO price. And but remember, these aren't growth funds, and so my reason for having anything like this is just because I want exposure to that part of the economy. Just like I had TLTW, even though it's not, I wasn't trying to time the bond market. I just need some bond exposure in there. So, I would say this: it's a better day to buy K-SIL than it was a couple of days ago. Let's just go with that. I'm comfortable saying that. I am totally comfortable saying that. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate y'all for being here. I appreciate everyone for watching the show. I appreciate finding serendipity from our Discord for giving me a bunch of good questions. I think I asked 2 of them, but they were well thought out questions. Also, some other guys gave me questions. I don't remember. Sovereign gave me. I asked some other questions from Discord too. I appreciate you guys contributing and helping me out. I'm always afraid that I'm going to freeze or run out of questions, and I love to have you guys' questions here so I can look. Like today, at one point, I couldn't think of anything else to ask him, so I started looking through questions that you guys say. I hate being on the spot. So anyway, thanks for all the help. Thanks for everything. I think the big conversion over to the Twitter live streaming is going great. So I think everything's good, guys. Thank you so much. If you need anything, hit me up in Discord or text me if you have my number. All right. I'll talk to you later.